Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you are new here, my name If you are new here, my name is Lex Morningstar and this YouTube channel is about basically being an INFP. I feel like in my previous videos I've been a little bit on the negative side, and today I really wanted to focus on the positives of being an INFP. We are a very special bunch, and I would love to highlight what exactly I love about being INFP and what I love about the INFP personality type in general. We have a tendency to be very hard on ourselves, so I figure that it's really important to do this kind of video, especially seeing as my last video was drawing on the perceived negative aspects of being an INFP. But like everything in life, there are both positive and negative aspects, and it's also about how you perceive things. At the end of the day, as long as we feel balanced in ourselves, then I think we're all good. I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible, at least with the things that I'm going to say, because I do have guest speakers in this video to which I will be showing at the end. So I'm going to try and fit all of this in, so bear with me. Kurt Cobain is one of my favorite INFPs. One of the reasons why I really love Kurt Cobain is because he wasn't afraid to be himself, and in fact, it was more than that. He was fiercely himself, and I believe he was such an influence and is such an influence on INFPs in the regard that we are also fiercely ourselves. This brings me to the first point, that INFPs are individualistic and unique. We as INFPs know that we bring a very beautiful dynamic to the world. I guess you could say we are led by the change we wish to see in the world. We are led by what we believe and by what we value. So, in other words, introverted feeling. This means as INFPs, we want to stay true to who we are. We want to stay true to our authentic selves. INFPs are so sure of themselves that, it doesn't really matter what anyone else is doing around the INFP. We will not change to fit in. We will not change and try to be cool just because everyone else is doing that. INFPs don't care about popularity or about conforming to a certain way. All we care about is being true to ourselves. It's part of the reason I feel that I am so honest in these videos, because I think, living in this kind of society and in this culture, I feel the pressure to almost be perfect. We live in such a hard and fast reality that in any moment you show weakness, it's like you're at the bottom of the totem pole. But who really sets those rules, and why are they applied to us in Western society? I want to be an advocate for being yourself and for letting your walls down and to say, yeah, so what, I'm sensitive. So what, I'm highly emotional. So what, I'm a bit of a procrastinator. So what, I have social anxiety. So what, I am an introvert. Because at the end of the day, it is just who I am. And it doesn't make me any better or worse than anyone else in this world. And just like Kurt Cobain, I'd rather be who I am and stay true to who I am than pretend to be someone that I am not, just so that I can fit in to a crowd. You look at Princess Diana as another INFP. She stayed true to herself, and she didn't want to conform to how the royal family expected her to be. And for her to help people with HIV and the homeless specifically, it was her way of sticking it to the royal family. In the MBTI world, we know her as a passive rebel, because we as INFPs are individualistic and we want to stay true to who we are. We have really great understanding of ourselves. We know what works for us and what doesn't. A lot of people who watch Lord of the Rings, or who I've spoken to anyway, have said that they didn't really like the character Frodo because he was, quote, annoying. We just saw Frodo as a really emotional, serious character, and of course, he's been typed as INFP. However, what I see from Frodo is his passion and resilience to get to Mordor to destroy the ring. He was the only character who could do it because the ring would have corrupted anyone else. But he was so emotionally intelligent and so true to himself and true to what was good that he basically kicked ass in the end.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
INFPs are passionate and resilient. Yes, we can procrastinate. Yes, we can change our minds about things. But when we have a project or a cause we believe in, nothing can get in our way. When our introverted feeling takes full gear, we can become so hardworking and organized. It's like everything just clicks into place and we become powerhouses. It's where you may have heard the term that INFPs are a champion of the cause. Now, for an INFP, I think strengthening our introverted sensing and extroverted thinking when it comes to working on the things that we are passionate about, this would help us see it through right to the end. However, just like Frodo making it to Mordor, sheer willpower is what drives us to complete the things we want to with such precision and fruitfulness. An INFP with a cause is a dangerous one, I tell you. Diana is another good example of this. When she had causes that she believed in, she was always on the front lines of it. She, of course, was a patron to more than 100 charities. And even when England didn't believe they had a homeless problem, she was still there fighting the good fight and making the real difference. Now, J.R.R. Tolkien is probably one of my favorite INFPs, and he is such an inspiration to me because he was extremely creative. He created many different languages growing up, and of course created Middle-earth and all the characters that went with it. Now, as an INFP, Tolkien was able to do this because of his introverted feeling and extroverted intuition. Those two functions teamed up side by side are absolutely badass. Just the creativity of INFPs are so alluring. Now, I'm joined to a few INFP groups on Facebook, and every now and again, a member of those INFP groups will post their art. Now, oh my gosh, some of the stuff that gets posted just absolutely blow me away. And it makes me really proud to be an INFP. Just knowing how many INFPs are so talented and so creative. And when they put drive and passion behind their creativity, again, they become a powerhouse. It enables we as INFPs such unconventional perspectives. We so easily read between the lines and look at things in new ways that perhaps other people can't. It's our way of problem solving. It may not be traditional or conventional, but we still get there in the end, and we get there by being our authentic selves. We get there by utilizing our amazing ability to be so highly creative. As an INFP, I thoroughly enjoy creating characters and creating universes. I thoroughly enjoy creating these things because it gives me a chance to express myself, express this internal world that I more or less keep hidden 99% of the time, because apparently our society doesn't like it, except if you're Tolkien. One of my favorite things about INFPs is the fact that they're compassionate and they see the good in people and in situations. We have such a thorough and in-depth understanding of other people, and as INFPs, we are on a mission to bring the best out in those people, especially if they are people who we care about. We have a special knack for finding hidden talents in people, and we encourage people to utilize it because we believe that everyone is beautiful and everyone can offer something so beautiful to the world. If our friend is passionate about something, we are going to support it. It's also really hard to see the people we care about suffer, especially if they're suffering because of the influence of the man. I think generally if an INFP is reading a book or watching a movie, we're the type of people who will always support the underdog, the outcast. The reason we do this is because we can see the potential in that person, and we also appreciate the fact that that person remains true to themselves, and we as INFPs see that as such a strength. There is nothing more satisfying for an INFP than seeing the outcast and the underdog step up and take their power back. INFPs are very emotionally intelligent, and we understand our own emotions through and through. And although we can be emotional people or highly sensitive people, and it can be quite overwhelming for us, at the same time, we know our emotions and we trust our emotions. I think as INFPs, our emotions don't scare us as much as, say, perhaps a more thinking type. And at the same time, we have such understanding of how other people think and how other people feel. We want to understand. We want to understand how other people work. We want to understand what makes other people tick. And again, we want to help other people follow what their purpose is and what makes them happy. Now, I think we share this next trait with INFJs, and we do it in a different way, however. INFJ's primary function is introverted intuition, and this allows them to see the big metaphor in everything, to see the big picture. INFPs do similar. We are very deeply analytical, and we have a great tendency to see the bigger picture also. I love to be able to see the lesson in every situation, especially if it's a negative situation. I'm going to see things that happen in my life, especially if they're bad. I like to see them as something that I can learn from and something that can help me become stronger and help me lead me to my higher purpose. Again, I think this is our way of problem solving. We are not methodical. We don't see small details and act upon them. As people who are led by our hearts, we like to see the deeper meaning in situations. We like to read between the lines and to act upon that. This, of course, is part of our creativity. It is introverted feeling and extroverted intuition working together to create understanding and to problem solve our way through our lives. We add a fresh and creative perspective to such an extroverted, hardened world. I like how INFPs aren't methodical, and I like how we would rather go against tradition and try something new. I like how we don't just think on the surface, and I like how we're able to see things past the end of our nose. Now, there are many more things about INFPs that I really love, such as the fact that INFPs are humble and open-minded, loyal and kind, just to name a very few. But unfortunately, I'm not really wanting this video to drag along because, of course, now I'm going to introduce to you my guest speakers. They are going to explain to you what they love about INFPs from drawing off their experience with me.
So some things that I think are really cool about Lex and the things about, I guess, INFPs. She's really articulate, a great eye for detail, and she can see things that other people can't.
I'm born in Canada, but I've been in New Zealand since 1992. I've been around the world and I've met a lot of really powerful and influential people that do not have the gift of compassion and passion, of integrity that Alex has. She's one of the most real people I've ever had the privilege to be around.
Though this empathetic and caring, kind and considerate part of her, which is part of the INFP personality, she had a pet mouse. Now, she wanted to take her pet mouse to bed with her at night time, and she would pet the mouse, look after the mouse, and she wanted our cat to make friends with the mouse, invite the cat in, and for a couple of days, or a couple of nights that worked. And one night we heard an almighty scream and we come rushing in, and Charlie had bitten the head off the mouse. So that was pretty terrible really for Alex. I mean, she was tormented by that. But it just shows that, knowing that cats like to eat mice, she didn't really care about that. She wanted them to be friends.
Everybody, if you cry and eat healthy stuff, you'll become big hearts and adults that will make you very strong and healthy. That's what INFPs do.
She has an independence. She has this gift of being able to see the good in people, the strength in people, the underlying goodness of heart. She's also able to fairly quickly see through people that are false.
She has a really good broad range of talent, and there's a humility that goes with those talents. We were doing the whole campfire thing one time, and she was going away with the singing and guitaring, and it was really amazing to see, and there was a great humility to it. There was this old piano just lying around, and she could play that as well, and now if we ever do anything like music related and there's a keyboard that needs to be played, she's the one that plays it.
She loved to spend a lot of time in her room and draw and write and dream.
She'll jump into something with both feet, fully passionate, full of drive, only to find out a week, 2 weeks, a month later, it's not really what she wants to do.
And she actually did this Joker painting, which she never finished, funny enough. But she had this little creative touch that she did that I thought was really cool. Yeah, she went into the circle of the camera and this little happy birthday James kind of, but it was like in the sort of specs of the camera lens. But Lisa's definitely a jack of all arts. She's got the ability to try on pretty much anything that's creative.
She loved horses. So we took her to the Riding for the Disabled, where she would look after the horses along with other girls. And she became very, very attached to a horse called Bucky. Alex had wonderful empathy and compassion for Bucky. She also had these same feelings and thoughts for people, but she particularly was empathetic to Bucky and cared for him.
She's got a really genuine quality to her, and I think that's something that INFPs have. They're really genuine people.
But her passion in sitting in front of this camera, making these recordings that she makes, they're finely tuned and developed so that what she says, what she speaks, is loaded with sincerity. It comes from her heart, not from her head.
And there was this reason she was doing it, and it wasn't for the typical reason of why everyone makes a YouTube channel to be popular and all that kind of stuff. She did it because she felt a public service to do it, and I thought that was quite the cool thing for her to do. Maybe it's an INFP thing. If you think of Frodo, he took the ring to the top of Mount Doom. He didn't have to, and he didn't make a big deal about it, let's be honest. He didn't come back like a total douchebag hero. He just sort of chilled out and then eventually gapped the scene.
I'm glad that there's people out there, people like you, and you, and you, and yes, you too.
Keep being creative. That was a stupid sign out. Instead of signing out, I think we should just pan to my toys and I'll just go away.
I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope that you can resonate with it in some way, shape or form. I would really love to know what you love about INFPs or about being an INFP. There is so much to be proud of, and you know, that's the thing. INFPs have such a tendency to be quite hard on themselves and to be self-critical. No one needs to tell an INFP what they do wrong because INFPs are there before anyone else. So it's always good to look at what makes you a beautiful person. And that's not even looking at INFP characteristics. That is looking at you as who you are, bar any of the 16 personalities. Everyone has something to offer this world and beyond. But for now, I hope you have a really good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all again next time. Bye.